Byram trying to go wide. He's got a step on Schmeeman. Byram to win it, scores! Bowen Byram's 5th overtime winning goal of the season.
Our off season was short. Yeah, it was short. But the boys have come back and they want to get through that one more goal and the one more win, and they're coming back with great attitudes here. They're ready to try to do the same thing again, but with a better result at the end. Cole Shepherd was a draft of the Giants prior to me arriving, and I was fortunate enough to be working with Hockey Canada in the U17 program, and while Cole was going through it, so I really got a close look at the caliber of player he is, and including watching him at the U17s. And the game that I watched, Justin Serta, him, and Seth Jarvis really stood out as sort of the 3 top forwards in my mind. And to get a player like that really sort of gives us, it helps us build with a kid that has played a year of junior under his belt, so the transition is a little easier than maybe stepping on a midget. And then Jack, we acquired Jack even, unknowing whether or not Cole was going to be signing with us, but we acquired Jack because he fits into our scheme and our sort of on your toes, fast, finish your hits, aggressive style of play that on our toes. And Jack is a kid that, another character kid that I watched through the Bantam leagues and think that he has a really big upside and will fit in well here. Whenever guys go to pro camps, there is some uncertainty because he could play in the AHL if they were to sign him. So, but we'd expect to see him back. And we have Dylan Plus, the defense, not a forward, but is attending Montreal's camp as a free agent. So there's some uncertainty sometimes when those guys, stranger things have happened. Well, so you get the phone call and say, we've got a spot for him here now. But you know what? If that's the case, we've done our job and they moved on. Otherwise, they got to come back and we got to continue to work and develop them. The balance of our group up front is really spread out. I think that we have a really good group of forwards here that is going to spread the scoring out. We know we're not just going to have to rely on 1 or 2 people to do this, particularly with some of these additions that we've added, and it takes the pressure off those guys. Justin is an incredible player that was fortunate enough to compete for Team Canada at the World Under Ivan Linka Gretzky Cup at the U18s, and he brought that experience back. He's much more mature, and that experience really went a long way, and that rubs off on all of our players here when kids get to do things like that and come back, because it's a whole different level. With a player of that caliber, you never know. And again, it's the same thing. If Bo is fortunate enough to stick in the NHL, then that shows that the Vancouver Giants have done their job preparing him for the NHL, and that's really what we want to move kids on. And if not, he's back, and we've got a heck of a player that's had an unbelievable season. And I've spoken to Bo prior to him leaving before camp, and he is focused either way. So he's all in if he's back. It's not like he's going to be sulking or disappointed. He's ready to go. Bo stood out after we lost to Prince Albert on the bench and watched Prince Albert celebrate. And I told him to go back into the room, but he didn't. He goes, I want to see what that feels like, because next year we're going to be there. And that's the type of kid he is. So he's really remarkable. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he stuck, but again, if we get the opportunity to work with him back here, it's great for our team. Really, aside from Bo, we have 4 returning veterans, and there's no reason to see that they won't be there. And then we've got a couple young guys, a couple O2s, Tanner Brown and Gendron are both O2s, and then Nick Verstraffen, who's an O1, who came in and sort of platooned in and out for us last year and was a good soldier. So right now, I think that's how it's shaping up. And again, if Bo comes back, then we may have to look at it then. But I feel good about the back end. Just with 4 guys returning right off the hop, that's really a nice feeling for me. Well, the goal, that's going to be a battle, and that's something that we're going to have to assess as we sort of move through here the preseason and then the start of the season. They're both very capable goalies, and obviously it worked extremely well for us last year, and we'll just sort of have to see how that goes. And David's off to Arizona, and again, that's another circumstance where potentially, he may not be back. He hasn't signed a contract yet, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if all of a sudden that changed and he's on to the next level after what he did for us last year through the playoffs. Well, I think the expectations are the same. It's to continue where we left off. Michael's a very prepared professional coach. I'm very confident that I don't have to worry ever about our team not being prepared for a game. And he's a good teacher. and he's able to communicate with the kids in a way that, you know what, they need to earn when they get here, and they need to be accountable to each other. And really, our culture here is that's what it is right now. And, you know, I don't want to also. I mean, Jamie Heward brought a lot as well with experience in the league, and the tandem of the two really they work well off of each other. And it's nice for me to look down and feel comfortable and confident enough that our guys are sort of doing what they need to do to make these young kids better. Well, I think of the BC divisions, all of the teams will take a step forward this year. I think last year there's a number of teams sort of in transition, but this year, you know what, there's been some coaching changes in our division. The kids are a little bit older, and you know, with Kelowna loaded up with some other guys they've added to their roster, so it's going to be a much more competitive division than it might have been last year. And you know what, we're ready for that, and as other teams are. Like, we look forward to those challenges. It makes our team better if you can play against hard competition every night. So I think we got to be humble and hungry. I think that, you know what, nothing's given. We're not our kids. We've got to go perform. And you know, last year I think we kind of, I don't want to say we snuck up on teams, but I don't know, with the new management, new coaching staff, what people expected. This year, teams certainly know what to expect from us, so they're going to be a little more prepared when we face them. So there's a lot of good teams in the Western Hockey League, and it's a long season. So I think that we just keep preparing like we did last year, and that we're on a mission, and we just want to be relentless.